Sarah Ferguson kept Andrew blindsided by her darker secrets. Crown Chronicles. Welcome, royal watchers, to another gripping episode of Crown Chronicles, the place where we uncover the most shocking truths, hidden tensions, and untold stories inside the British royal family. If you're fascinated by the drama behind palace walls and never want to miss a single revelation, then hit subscribe right now. Trust me, today's deep dive is one you'll want to hear from beginning to end, because what we're about to explore touches on secrecy, betrayal, royal pressure, and the tangled relationship between Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson. A relationship that the world has always watched, yet never fully understood. Today's topic is as dramatic as it is revealing. Was Prince Andrew blindsided by Sarah Ferguson's darker secrets? And if so, how deep do those secrets go? For decades, Andrew and Sarah, affectionately known as Fergie, have embodied one of the most unusual royal love stories. Married young, separated early, scandalized often, and yet somehow, always drawn back to one another. Even after their divorce, they remained unusually close. They continued living under the same roof, raising their daughters together, and presenting themselves almost like a family unit frozen in time. It was a closeness that confused the public, fascinated the media, and raised countless questions inside the royal family. But behind that closeness, behind the smiles and public loyalty, a more complicated truth may have been unfolding. Royal insiders now claim that Sarah Ferguson kept several of her darkest financial and personal struggles hidden from Andrew, not out of malice, but out of fear. Fear of judgment. Fear of disappointing him. And fear of dragging him further into the shadow of scandal. One thing has always been clear: Sarah Ferguson has lived a life that's been anything but quiet. Throughout the 90s and early 2000s, she battled continuous money troubles, poor business investments, failed ventures, and public embarrassments. While the world laughed at her missteps, few truly understood how deep and chaotic those problems were. But now, new reports suggest that some of Sarah's most troubling financial entanglements, debts, questionable loans, strained friendships, and even dealings with individuals the palace would never approve of, were hidden from Prince Andrew for years. According to insiders, Fergie believed that revealing everything would only sink her deeper and damage Andrew further, especially at a time when the prince already had his own controversies to worry about, and this is where the story twists. As Sarah's financial pressures grew, she reportedly made desperate choices that brought her into contact with people whose intentions were not always pure. Some of these individuals, according to sources, offered her assistance that came with unclear motives. Others promised investments or bailouts that later backfired spectacularly. These decisions, made in the shadows, would later contribute to Sarah's reputation for chaos. But what the public never knew was just how much she may have concealed from Andrew. Now imagine this: while Andrew was struggling with mounting public scrutiny, long before the Epstein scandal erupted, his closest companion, the mother of his daughters, was wrestling with troubles he didn't fully understand. It paints a picture of two people spiraling in different directions, yet clinging to each other because no one else truly understood them. Fast forward to recent years, and the dynamic becomes even more complicated. Prince Andrew has experienced one of the most catastrophic downfalls in modern royal history. His ties to Epstein, the legal settlements, the loss of royal roles, all of it devastated his reputation. Throughout this, Sarah stood by him, publicly and privately. She defended him, supported him, and maintained the image of unity. Even now, she remains one of the only people still in his inner circle, but according to new revelations, Andrew is only now beginning to understand how much Sarah kept from him during the years when they were still emotionally intertwined. Insiders say he feels blindsided, not because he believes Sarah betrayed him, but because he cannot understand why she didn't trust him enough to share everything. To Andrew, loyalty is everything. To Sarah, loyalty and protection are tangled. She reportedly didn't want Andrew to see just how vulnerable she was, or how close she came to losing control of her life. She feared he would either try to fix things, dragging himself into risks, or distance himself to protect the royal institution. But here's the twist: Sarah's secrecy may have actually pushed Andrew into deeper isolation. With the palace distancing itself, with the public turning against him, and with his daughters stepping into new adult lives, Andrew relied heavily on familiarity, and that familiarity was Sarah. The problem is that he didn't know the full story of what she was facing. Some royal commentators now argue that Sarah's hidden struggles might explain why the two have remained so intertwined over the years. Trauma bonds, shared crises, mutual silence, these create connections that are hard to break, even when they're unhealthy, yet others believe Andrew would have stood by Sarah regardless. That if he had known everything, he would have supported her just as fiercely as she supported him through his darkest hours, but perhaps the real question isn't whether Sarah hid things, it's why she felt she had to. Was it because the monarchy's expectations were too strict? Because she feared judgment from Andrew's inner circle? Because she wanted to shield her daughters? Or because she believed that unloading her problems onto Andrew would destroy the fragile little world the two had built for themselves? What's clear is this: the relationship between Andrew and Sarah has always been defined not just by love or loyalty, but by secrecy, pressure, and the weight of public perception. Their bond is complicated, layered, and in many ways tragic, two people who have spent decades trying to survive the consequences of their own choices while shielding each other from the full truth, and now, as both face increasingly uncertain futures, the secrets that once held them together may be surfacing in ways neither expected. For Sarah, this moment is one of reckoning. Her recent interviews and public appearances hint at a woman trying to redefine herself, but still haunted by past mistakes. For Andrew, it is another blow in a long line of shocks. And for the public, it's yet another glimpse into the fragile, messy, painfully human side of royal life that the palace works so hard to hide. Thank you for watching today's deep dive on Crown Chronicles. If this story kept you hooked, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share your thoughts in the comments below. The royal world is filled with secrets. And here on Crown Chronicles, we'll uncover them one revelation at a time.